Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a deeply powerful framework by T.S. Haynes called Finding Home, the emotional repair manual for the modern age. Look, if you've ever felt this low, constant hum of unease and tried to quiet it with, a purchase, a drink, or just endlessly scrolling on your phone, this is absolutely for you. We're going to explore Haynes's concept of building emotional steadiness from the absolute ground up, completely stripping away the need to rely on external fixes. Right off the bat, I want to clarify something pretty important about Haynes's approach. We aren't embarking on some mystical woo-woo journey today. No, this is a highly practical, totally secular repair manual. And it was built by a guy who, by his own admission, had absolutely zero steady ground of his own for most of his life. He literally had to construct his emotional foundation piece by piece, kind of like a carpenter learning a brand new trade. Okay, let's dive into this. Haynes opens with an incredibly vulnerable hook. It is the turn of the century, and I am drunk, and I am being obnoxious to strangers on the internet. Here's a guy trolling an earnest recovery chat room late at night. I mean, it sounds terrible, right? But he wasn't doing it just to be cruel. He was actively masking a profound childhood trauma caused by an unpredictable mother. He basically lived his whole life in constant fear of the emotional weather at home, and that left him with a massive, untreated deficit. Haynes calls the result of that deficit the reach. It's the habit of looking outside ourselves for a calm we never learned to make within. You see, Haynes had this unmanageable internal weather system going on. He didn't use alcohol for pleasure or, youthful rebellion. He used it purely as a thermostat for his own emotional regulation. It was an external fix for a massive internal void. So that brings us to part one, the illusion of the fix, when the reach changes clothes. When Haynes eventually got sober, he had a pretty harsh realization. Putting down the bottle didn't actually cure his disease. It just changed its disguise. The reach simply put on new clothes. Haynes basically swapped a highly disreputable habit, alcohol abuse, for a totally respectable one, late-night online shopping and endless tech upgrades. Have you ever done this? Upgraded a gadget just to feel that little rush? Because let's be honest, nobody stages an intervention just because you bought a new camera or a faster laptop. But the underlying belief operating in his mind, the thought saying this will make me feel better, was absolutely identical. The internal machinery hadn't changed at all. Haynes saw this machinery super clearly when he was studying an MBA case study. It detailed a multinational drinks company targeting an African slum. The company wasn't just selling cheap alcohol, they were specifically preying on people living in unmanageable, highly stressful conditions. It's wild when you realize that consumerism and advertising are literally engineered to exploit and monetize our internal deficit. They sell us the illusion that buying a product will magically fix our internal lack. This obsession with acquiring things brings us to a massive pivotal moment in Haynes's life. Think about this question for a second. What would actually happen to you if 20 years of your accumulated possessions, all your boxed up memories, your backups, everything suddenly went up in flames? Well, Haynes's outbuilding actually caught fire, destroying literally decades of his stuff. And his reaction? Total surprise. Actually, scratch that. It surprised me too. He didn't feel lost, he felt relief. He realized he hadn't been keeping those objects because he needed them or even loved them. He had been hoarding them to store reassurance against a feeling of lack. The fire ran the ultimate experiment and proved the stuff was entirely unnecessary. And this brilliantly illustrates how the reach trades in so many currencies way beyond just alcohol or physical clutter. We reach for identity through the brands we wear. We reach for constant distraction and attention through our smartphones. We even reach for the approval of absolute strangers online. It's all the exact same false assumption that adding something external to our lives will magically fix the void inside. Which leads us to part two, tools for emotional repair, the philosophical toolkit. So, how do we actually stop the reach? Well, Haynes found this cobbled-together toolkit through an online recovery program called Smart Recovery. Emphasizing this point, none of these are religious dogmas. This is a practical, secular repair kit that takes heavy, intimidating philosophy and demystifies it into usable, daily practices. We're talking about combining modern psychology, ancient Roman philosophy, a Californian self-inquiry method, and secular mindfulness, all working together. Let's break down the first tool from psychologist Albert Ellis. It's the ABC model. A is the activating event, B is your belief about it, and C is the consequence, basically how you feel and act. We all walk around thinking the event causes our feelings, right? We think A directly causes C, but the real leverage lies entirely in the middle, B, our hidden belief.
It's like a giant puzzle where the most important piece is hiding in plain sight.
So the absolutely crucial point is what comes next. D for disputing. The next time you have a bad day, actively dispute that hidden belief telling you that you need a drink or a new purchase just to survive it. Alongside this, Ellis teaches unconditional self-acceptance. You have to stop reading your entire self as good or bad based on a single event. Just accept yourself as a flawed, complex human being.
Now, this modern psychological tool has some seriously ancient roots. Albert Ellis actually pulled this concept directly from the Stoics. Just look at this quote from Epictetus. A former slave and a Roman emperor shared the exact same insight 2,000 years ago. You cannot control the event, you can only control the view you take of it. Your steady ground is found entirely in your own judgments. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Byron Katie strips that Stoic concept down even further. When a stressful thought hits you, try asking these 4 simple questions. That last one, who would I be without this thought, is a real game changer. It instantly loosens the thought's grip on your emotions by showing you that the thought isn't some unbreakable law of reality. To quiet the underlying engine of the reach, Haynes turned to Buddhism, but he completely stripped away all the mysticism. He frames it simply as a method, not a creed. It's a practical, everyday practice of mindfulness used to quiet our constant craving, what Buddhists call dukkha. And it trains us to simply pay attention to the present moment, without desperately trying to escape it.
Let's wrap this up with part 3, building your solid ground, the application. Let's move to and see how this builds into a practical daily habit. How do you actually use this on a random, dull Tuesday afternoon when the craving hits? Haynes builds all of this into what he calls the back of the hand method, because it's so simple, it literally fits right there. Step 1, stop in the half second before you reach. Step 2, name the actual feeling. Say, I am anxious, not I need a drink. Step 3, question the belief. Will this purchase actually fix my anxiety? And step 4, stay. Step 4, staying, is also known as urge surfing. This is the physical reality of sitting with an emotion. Next time you feel that physical tightness of an urge, find its address in your body and try surfing it instead of immediately reaching for your phone or your wallet. It will peak and pass in minutes if you just stop treating it like an absolute emergency that has to be fixed right that second. And once you master this, something incredible happens to all that energy you used to spend desperately trying to fix yourself. You stop reaching inward to chase a fix, and you begin reaching outward to connect from a place of fullness. Haynes experienced this firsthand when he started organizing Christmas parties for impoverished children in Philippine barangays. Not to feel like a savior, but simply to give from a solid, grounded place. Which brings us full circle to the title of the book. True emotional steadiness isn't something you're born with, and there is no way you can buy it. It is laid down grain by grain through 10,000 unremarkable daily refusals to give in to the reach. Every single time you urge surf, you are laying a brick of your own foundation, built by your own hand. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Think about the sheer amount of time, money, and mental bandwidth you spend trying to quiet your own internal unease with external fixes. If you start building your own solid ground today, what will you do with all the incredible energy you save when you finally stop reaching?